Hi guys, welcome to another episode of The Aspiring Entrepreneur. I'm your host Hamza Chowdhury. Welcome to today's daily stock recap. It is April 27th. It's Tuesday. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My voice got a little bit better overnight from all that screaming for my first basketball game of the year. With that said, guys, it was an interesting day. The markets were definitely showing signs of weakness, trading at all-time highs. You know, we basically have really found a top. And so what I want to do in this video, if you're new to this channel, is basically what we do is we cover a handful of tickers, and I just go over the price action based on some thesis and some ideas that we have. And I also go over some day trades that I do. I'm primarily a day trader, so a lot of my trades are either completed within seconds or hours or minutes, not necessarily a big swing trader, although I do carry some long positions. So here's the Spce, and you can see, you know, we have a clear top here again around 417 for 418. And so one of the things I wanted to do is for today's channels, we're going to cover Appl, Tsla, Palantir, Spce, FuelCell, Plug, AI, and we're going to go over Ocugen, and also we're going to go over Microvision, Mvis. Those are some stocks that I did trade. I do want to talk about some of the good and the bad today. And so you can see here the Spce ran, like we mentioned, that there would be a pullback a couple weeks ago, and we got that. And so you can see this sort of pivot here around 411 has been good consolidation support for the Spce. And now you can see the 20-day is coming up right at that level. And so don't be surprised if you see a pullback back into 411 to bounce off the 20. You know, we do constantly bounce off the 20, but we've also mentioned that we risk down to the 50, which right now is sitting right around 398. And so I definitely think the market's very extended. It's again at all-time highs. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a pullback. Now keep in mind, Appl does have its earnings tomorrow. And before I switch to Appl, one of the things I wanted to do was just show you real quick here. So if I were to plot Appl, right, and Spce, we know that Appl's a big part of it. And so again, you guys can see we had this 135 top that we've talked about several times on this channel. And don't be surprised that Appl came down back to like 131. And so you can see that now that the Spce is sort of topped and needs to retrace, that's where the thesis of the 127.50 come in, right where this level of Spce around 398. Okay, so the 127.50 can come when the market starts to pull back. And of course, I think we'll see that tomorrow based on earnings, because of course, I think it's already sort of factored in based on the price action that we're seeing on Appl. Okay, and so if again, if you bought on the dips, you bought on the support, the area of interest, and you're holding on. I mentioned, you know, sell, and you can always buy a quarter on these dips. And like I said, I would be personally adding shares around 127.50, close to the 50-day. And so for Appl for the day was just down 0.25%. You can see here it traded about $1.30, but again, clear top here around 135. And so it really, you know, wasn't too exciting. It was really tight in terms of the price range. You know, we're closer definitely to the overbought area, but you can see the big news will be the earnings tomorrow. Now, one of the things that you should pay attention to is you can see from where we started this positive momentum on the stock, and we sort of rose, you can see that now we started to fade the momentum, the positive momentum, and you can see that the MACD and the signal line are sort of plateaued, and they're starting to point sort of downward, right? So they're going to plateau and then start facing downward. And so like I mentioned before, I definitely would, you know, see some downside risk here, but as expected, the 50-day is now flattened out, and so we can expect that, you know, this will start to come up once this starts to come to, once we get a bounce off of it. You know, again, I'm still bullish on Appl, and I always mention to you guys long term, right? We know where this stock is going. Okay, Tsla, 695. We said it yesterday. You know, my broken voice, right? I mentioned 695 is the area that we've bounced off of, and you know, we closed at the lows of the day. So what does that tell you, right? Is that it was pretty much a short. Pretty much from the start. There was an opportunity at the beginning of the day to actually get involved. If my chart can load up a little quicker here, there was a race to sort of 720. I was hoping we'd get up to at least a 730, which we held pretty well right up here. Okay, so we were 725. I was hoping we could get up here, and I had a price alert to about 730, and that didn't happen. And so it was a weak stock. It just pretty much hit the pre-market highs and faded. And so, you know, once you trade the lows, you know, I expect again 691, 695, whatever that bounce is going to be tomorrow, but that should be validated. And so, you know, again, same kind of idea. Let's look at it on the daily chart. You know, same idea as Appl, right? A lot of these stocks have ran from 560s up into 780s up to now 700, and now you can see the momentum is slowly sort of slowing down. And so I expect, again, we'll get a pullback here back to the 50-day, which is around the 691, 695, and then, you know, a continuation. Okay, and so just be patient. You know, this is healthy, right? We want to get people out, we want to get new buyers in so we can continue the stock now that there's a trend reversal. And keep in mind, guys, you know, that the earnings were great. There's nothing here to be wrong about. What was interesting too, guys, back here we had earnings, and look what happened. We ran up back from you know, we were trading 800 or so in the after hours, but we ran all the way back to 900. It was really interesting to see that. Now we had earnings a few months later, and we're still trending lower. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind in terms of the stock performance, right? Is that the earnings here, the earnings were even better, and the stock is already trading, you know, $170 lower than where it was. I think it was over here, was 842. Oh no, the day of earnings was right here. So like, yeah, it was close to 900. Okay. Palantir, I think it's been one of the strongest stocks, but it continues to see the resistance right there at the 50-day, which we mentioned on this channel would happen. And so right there, clear top at 24.30. And so my expectation is, now that we've sort of had two, you know, resistance at 50 days, that we'll consolidate and we'll get a strong bounce, and we just need some volume to step in. But you can see that, you know, it's really been sort of mixed signals. It's been trending downwards, but I'm still positive. And like I mentioned, short-term price target 31.50 for me on the stock. That hasn't changed. And the same thing is, I really expect that, you know, we should get the buyers in the stock and you know, again, break this 50-day, which we haven't been able to break since back here in February. Okay. Spce, Virgin Galactic, same thing. You know, guys, we talked about it. The short-term price target, you know, $26, $27. And you can see here double bottom, and same thing, guys, we're trending upwards. And so you can see these days where the stock market feels heavy, it feels like it's selling off. There's a lot of these stocks that are holding up and they're trading positive. I mean, Palantir, we mentioned, you know, usually tanks, and it actually is holding up levels, and that's a good sign for a trend reversal. And then we also know that Spce, right, is trending below the 200-day moving average. And so short-term price target, we mentioned, you know, $26, $27, which would be right here. And there's, you can see there's a daily fill right here, right around the 20, a little over 26. FuelCell, we mentioned too, you know, we're looking for a bounce off the 20-day this week, and so we still haven't hit that yet. Just some little weakness in the market, but you can still see we're pretty much still on the oversold side. And so same thing, you know, we've been trading negative momentum now for over a month, and the stock's been beaten down from its all-time high here, you know, recent highs at $30. And so same idea, guys, is we bounced off the 200-day, we got validation, we're consolidating, and so same thing, I expect, you know, short-term price target of $11. We got pretty close yesterday and today, you know, 1085, 1075, but not 11 technically just yet. And so again, I should expect that this week. Plug, we mentioned $30 was our price target. We hit 29.56. Yesterday was 29.56 as well. And so same idea, it's consolidating, it's really trending the same way. And so we want to see a bounce off this 20-day, which will give us that $30 price target. AI, I'm really excited about this stock. I will pull out my day trading chart for AI. You know, we mentioned that this Bollinger Band, it's extremely tight. And this 73 level has been strong resistance for the stock in the past. And so it had gapped up, it bounced and basically hit that, and, you know, in the pre-market. And then we just essentially trended downwards. Okay, and keep in mind the stock was just literally $59 on the 21st of April. Okay, so 6 days ago. And so it's had a great run from 60 all the way up to 73. As you guys can see, the red dots we had talked about represents extreme market consolidation of a stock where it can basically break out. We had a ton of negative momentum in the stock, and you can see we're slowly trying to get back to the positive side as the MACD and signal line are signaling positive. Short-term price target on this one as well, guys, as we mentioned, is $82, and that's still in play. I will switch now and stay on my day trading charts. I do want to talk about two stocks that basically were interesting plays. And so I shorted Ocgn today, as I mentioned to you, some of the thesis in my Saturday video. If you haven't had a chance to check out what happened, definitely do so. But you can see it was clearly trending lower. And so as always, guys, you have to have a stop, you know, loss here. And I believe what I did is I looked at it where it was open yesterday around 11:05, And I think that's where we hit the top here. And so more or less 1105, 1106, which was the open yesterday, was the risk. And you can see kind of the top here in the pre-market. And so it was a great fader. And then all of a sudden the buyer stepped in here. And what was really interesting about this 980, 993 range, if you go back to the day where it tanked, is look where the areas that came in, right? 950 to 980. And that's where it bounced today. And so it actually respects this level a lot. And that's where we saw the bounce today. And then what I ended up doing was trying to squeeze, or when the thing was squeezing, I was trying to short the extended move, and you know, continued. It was a great move, and then finally I actually did something I never really do, or I haven't done in a long time. I actually tried to short after hours, and I shorted here because there was a clear pivot here, and it was great. I was able to, you know, I saw a clear top here, the triple top, and I was able to get in here, and then I tried it again when it retested, and I ended up getting squeezed. And then you can see clearly it just traded right back. Okay, so now had I held my original position on my last position, would I have been profitable? Yes. And should you go half size, quarter size in an aftermarket when manipulation plays like this happen? Yes, of course you should. And so I did lose on this last trade here on Ocgn, gave back some of my gains from the stock today. So again, lesson learned. You know, this is just a manipulation play. And again, if you're long Ocgn, several, you know, ways to get out of the stock if you were stuck from the Friday sort of meltdown. Mvis, I actually got involved with the stock. I was laser focused in Ocgn. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about today is when you're laser focused, you don't have to trade several setups. That Ocgn, I went heavy around the $11 short in the morning, and it gave at least $1. And so I switched my eyes from that to Mvis right around here when the stock had, it seemed like it really kind of consolidated and it was holding a floor more or less at 22. And so I got involved, very small size. It wasn't anything large, but you can see what happened, right? So essentially they were collecting the bids and then they soaked, and then all of a sudden they tanked. And so you can see this red line. This is the point of control. This is where most of the shares were exchanged. And so this is where essentially the longs, anything above this is where the longs are winning. Anything below it, right? Most of the shares that I've traded, if it's below, the shorts are winning. And so it was kind of interesting to see that, you know, what already felt like a stock that was down. Keep in mind, this is 22. This is a stock that was up at 28 in the morning, you know, actually had more downside. And so I ended up taking the loss here on this candle flush, which is my 15-minute candle. And then I ended up buying and scalping positions up here and sold them on the strength at the close of the day, which is what I was waiting. I was waiting for this strength right here. And now you can see here, we're at $21.14, right? And so we're retracing right back to where we had tanked. And so again, market manipulation, whatever you want to call it, they know a lot of people have to go flat. And I personally don't have to. I can trade after hours, but I just closed the position. So I had a couple green trades, but a major red trade. So I was overall red on Mvis. And so, you know, again, the trend is your friend. This was a day where shorts were winning. It was clearly trending lower, and there was never a sign of a reversal. And considering even a consolidation and a floor, or what felt like a floor, and again, where most of the shares traded, still ended up not even working out as a thesis. And so, you know, cutting it sooner than later would have been a great idea, but this stock was trading 10, 15, 20 cent spreads at certain times, and it was quick. And so with that said, guys, as always, I appreciate you. Please smash that like button for this video, guys. I do this only for you. As always, we're a 100% free content channel. And so if there's anything I've said or done or I can do to help you personally with your trading, again, I'm not a financial. This is purely for entertainment purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. But as always, guys, I'm happy to help as much as I can. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.